Hello everyone, it's Doom here once again, playing a video game. Today it is, as you can see, Dark Souls with the Prepare to Die edition. Let's start a new game. Of course, to do that we'll need to make a character. Name. Let's go with guard unit. And of course this is your class. For those that do not know, in Dark Souls your class really just determines your starting equipment and your starting stats. Not much else. Of course I have little care of such things. But I think we will probably go for a more physical class. But if you're starting out, I recommend you are either a knight or a cleric. A cleric can heal themselves, while a knight can afford being hit by normal enemies a few times. Warrior and bandit are also good, but they tend to be more aggressive. And I recommend against sorcery and pyromancer, as they are the sorcerer-based class, or magic-based classes. And someone is deciding to go absolutely insane. And of course you can start a gift, which is basically an item we get at the start of the game. The Goddess Blessing, which fully heals you, and your status, which is okay, but it's only a one-time use, I believe. Black Firebomb allows you to get the Demon Great Hammer, and is fairly easy, or it gives you a fairly good ranged option. And you start with 20, which is pretty good. 20 Andes allows you to heal, but you can usually find a decent amount of them anyways. Binoculars you can get pretty much at the start of the game. Pendant has absolutely no use. Master Key you get if you're a thief, and it allows you to explore a lot of areas early on. There's also the Tiny Being's Ring, which gives you 5% HP, and it is completely lying when it says that. And then the Old Witch's Ring, which is for something else. We're probably going to go with the Tiny Being's Ring, even if it's very useless. And we're probably going to get rid of it first chance we get. We can also determine our physique, albeit I don't think there's actually a difference on any of them. We'll just go enlarge and in charge. And of course our face. Let's just go with generic commoner. Actually I have a better idea. How about we go that. Go with the receding and make it gray. Yeah, I guess it looks kind of old. And now there is the prologue.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark.
Started by an underground coal fire.
Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten.
Much use.
With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart their stone skins. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath the Scaleless betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more.
Except for Seath, of course.
Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers, and man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side.
A circle! Oh my god! Dude. I am not the most motivated today. Cracked red eye of online play item.
Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
You know, nobody seemed terribly pragmatic with the whole idea of undead legions. Hey, Oscar. Of course, that corpse has the key we need, so we're just gonna get on out. Of course, these will tell you the controls. They are left by the developers, you know, because they have the Oscar symbol, as I like to call it. So, yeah. Because we started as knight, we actually start out fat rolling, which basically means we are not going to be doing the most rolling early on. It is way darker than it should be. Brightness, that's where it is. Okay, much better. And after climbing that ladder, we reach our first bonfire. You can tell because it's a sword. You can rest at it to restore your health. Yes, you can go over there. Now, if you got the Black Firebomb gift, or you have 20 minutes to spare, you can kill this demon in order to receive the Great Demon Hammer. However, since we do not have either, we will just be leaving. Of course, since we took a bit of damage, we rest at the bonfire. Recover our health. if you're playing the other classes and aren't mega fat rolling, you should be able to fairly easily roll through these arrows. However, if you're started as knight like I did, you don't actually you get like 1 invincibility frame, so it's a bit difficult. And we get our first real weapon, a broadsword. Let's make use of it. Ow. A light injury for certain. And that tells us how to roll into the back step, which is basically a roll. There's a trap over there. Not a trap, I guess. So there's a ball that rolls down. And we can see Oscar again.
Oh, you. You're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I were both undead. Hear me out, will you? Regrettably, I have failed in my mission, but perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family. Thou who art undead art chosen, and thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know. And I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask. An undead favorite. Oh, and this. Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
Alright, I have a few things to say. One, he looks pretty much uninjured. Why is he dying? Two, according to the lords of the game, if you're hollow, isn't it that you lose your sanity when you lose all hope? So, since we're giving him new hope, he should be fine even if he dies. And three, if all of his injuries are internal, he should probably drink the Estus he just gave us. And you know what we do with people that are too dumb to live around here? Alternatively, you can just talk to him again and then leave. Why? Because you're too dumb to live, good sir. Yes, you can two-hand weapons, you can... I guess about that. Generally, I used to think like the longest time you're supposed to tilt. However, it's more like you need to send it all the way like you would move. It's much more reliable than trying to tilt it. It took me a very long time to figure that one out. There is an archer over there, so maybe a preferable idea to pull back so it cannot easily kill you. And you can also parry in this game. Another thing that I took a while for me to figure out is that you need to parry as an enemy is mid-animation, rather than right before they hit you. However, if you do it mess up the timing, you should still be able to at least partial parry. I like that. At least I think I got it right the first time. That's basically you take reduced damage, and you basically aren't affected by the attack itself. Well, you still take damage, but you don't get, like, moved. And if you successfully parry, you can riposte on most enemies. You can also do a plunging attack if you're above an enemy, and for large foes, you get a unique animation for it. Even though I clearly missed. The first boss in the game, and it's not too tough. Especially if you have a weapon. It's actually not that bad in my experience if you try doing it with your fist. It just takes a very long time. And there it goes. Killing it on your second try will get you the big Pilgrim's Key. If you killed it with your fists or the Black Firebomb, then Oscar, who does not even receive his name in the credits, but instead in the game's code, will give it to you instead. And using it, you can leave. That just... Only Doom. Only Doom, everybody. Only Doom. Only Doom. It's not like we lose anything, but still. Only Doom. Only Doom can do that. Only Doom. Alright. Nobody else has ever done that in this game. Ever. Only Doom. Anyway, if you take a slight detour to this area, you get the soul of a lost undead. And if you take another short detour, you can meet Snuggly the Crow, who, unless you took... who you can't really do anything with. However, if you have 20 humanities, you can give them to her for a rare ring of sacrifice, or like to call it rare ring of sack, and then a lot of other items. But we can't do anything with her, so we're just gonna leave.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
Only the most creative of names you can expect from the Land of Lords. Thanks, bird. Appreciate the assistance. Yes, in the Lordran you can level up and kindle at the bonfires. This particular bonfire doesn't require kindling as it has already been, so, which means it'll give us 10 Estus. And then leveling up you can raise the variety of stats. Vitality is your health, attunement is your slots for magic, endurance is your stamina and equipment load, it also improves your bleed resistance, strength, which increases your damage, dexterity, which increases your damage as well. Resistance is useless. Actually, speaking of resistance, you probably don't want to get it. It does improve your poison resist and like your actual normal physical resistance. However, every other stat increases your resistance, even if less. And generally, poison resistance is easier to come by changing the type of armor you equip. So if you want raw durability, it's better to just pick up vitality. And if you want better poison resist, you could just pick up endurance and get better poison resistant armor, which not only increases your poison resistance, it also increases your bleed resistance because you got endurance. And then there's intelligence, which is required for sorceries, and faith, which is required for miracles. And on a slight note, if you're playing as a pyromancer, your pyromancies don't scale with any stat, so you're free to focus more into stats like intelligence if you're going for also sorcery, or your strength if you're also going to tend to brawl. We're probably just going to pick up a few strength and a dexterity. Make us a bit more offensive oriented, since we already have 14 vitality, which is pretty good, and really good armor. I think we'll actually call it good for here, since we went past the tutorial, and even though I do intend for these to have long parts, nothing bad with having a short one for the first one. Words. Anyhow, I need to get more positive for the next episode, and with that, I think everyone should have a nice day, for Doom is signing out. Goodbye!